and welcome to another episode of What's New. I hope you're all doing well. As usual, Alexander and I are here to talk a little bit about what's new today. We'll be interviewing someone very special. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yes, hi, my name is Alexander. I'm one of the hosts, as Riley said, and today we'll be interviewing Blake, the police officer of Captain's Flat. So would you like to say hello and just introduce yourself?
Thanks for having me. Like I said, Blake from Captain's Flat Police. I'm happy to be here to be a part of your podcast today.
Cool. So we'll just run you down with a few questions and then we'll have time for a few little questions for you if you want to talk about what's happening in the school, all that stuff. We can run that down too.
That all sounds good.
Would you like to start us off, Riley?
Sure. So my first question for you is, what's the best thing about being a Captain's Flat police officer?
There's a lot of great things about being the police officer in Captain's Flat. I guess not necessarily being the police officer itself. It's being a part of the community and getting involved in the community. So working on my own out here, that's great as well. We get to do a lot of things that I wouldn't do anywhere else. I get to go on long rural patrols, speak to members of the community, and also engage with the community, and like we have the Raiders events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not just about being a police officer. It's about being part of the community and being involved in general.
Cool. Quick little side question for you. What series is your Land Cruiser out front of your house?
I've heard it's quite popular, but it's a 79 series Land Cruiser.
Nice. Very good series too.
Thank you.
Second question, what area do you cover?
So we cover quite a large area. They call it the Eastern Sector. So the whole district is called Monaro Police District.
Mm.
That encompasses Queanbeyan all the way down to Delegate, south of Queanbeyan, pretty much to the Victorian border. So the Eastern Sector, it's myself at Captain's Flat. We've got Braywood and Bungendore. So we cover as far north as just past Nerriga, as far south as a little suburb called Snowball, and west out to Sutton and Eaglehawk on the highway. Cool. And east to the top of the Clyde Mountain.
That's really cool.
Interesting and cool. Have you ever had to use like brute force?
I've been in the police for I guess close to 6 years now. So there has been a couple of occasions where we have to use force. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's part of the job. We deal with people who aren't necessarily happy a lot of the time, and sometimes that results in using force.
Also, have you ever had to be in a high-speed chase?
I have been in a couple. Before I worked out here, I worked in Queanbeyan for about 4 years. I was part of a proactive team in Queanbeyan where we did a lot of interesting and fun work, and part of that involved a couple of chases and the fun stuff you see on TV.
Yeah.
Another side question: for your high-speed chases, what's your favourite car been that you've used?
The favourite car, I guess, that I've been in is probably the highway cars. They're all pretty quick and they sound good, and when you have to chase someone, it's a good car to be in and a safe car to be in.
Cool. Yeah.
Have you ever had to use your taser, and why? Kind of.
I have had to use my taser before. I believe there is a tour coming up of Captain's Flat Police Station. I have a little certificate in there from my region commander, which is a commendation for an occasion where I did use my taser and it worked effectively, and we were able to arrest someone.
Cool.
So when you come down to the station, I'll show that to you, and you can have a read if you like.
My second question kind of carries on from the last one. Have you ever been tasered?
No, I haven't, and I'm glad I haven't. Trust me, it's I've seen it work, and it's not a nice thing to be on the other end of. In the US, I know that there's an option if you want to get tasered in your training. In New South Wales, we don't have that option. It used to be an option, but not anymore with safety issues and stuff like that.
Also, with the tasers, when you shoot it into the back, it gives that. Doesn't it give it the stun? And then if you keep pulling the trigger, does it keep stunning them? Kind of.
I'm not too sure how much I'm allowed to go into, but yeah, you're correct with it shoots out a couple of prongs, and that's generally on a cycle, so it lasts a certain amount of seconds, and if you squeeze the trigger again, it starts another cycle for another few seconds, but generally one cycle's enough to affect an arrest. Yeah.
My I think third or fourth question is, what's the difference between being a country and city police officer?
In terms of the scope of work, it's very similar. We go to the same malicious damage incidents, the same, neighbour disputes, stuff like that. The difference out here is the area we cover, the distances we cover, and the rural crime aspect. So a lot of the time I'll go to jobs that I wouldn't, if I worked in Sydney, I wouldn't go to, so stock theft, trespassing, illegal hunting, stuff like that, where we go and speak to farmers and work out the issues they face and try and combat those issues. But there's other differences in terms of backup. Out here, 90% of the time I work on my own, and backup isn't just around the corner. So we really have to be part of the community and trust the community and know that, you know, if anything happens, they'll have our back, because generally our own colleagues are a fair distance away. Because it also teaches us some communication skills as well. So how to de-escalate situations with just speaking to someone, and it's a really good skill to have. Yeah.
Plus, like in such a small town with Captain's Flat, you're like right on the corner of one of the most main streets of Captain's Flat too, so most people would definitely know you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of people know where I am and obviously where I live.
And again, do you know the date of when we're going to have the tour of the station, maybe?
So it's been organised for the 20th of August. It's a Friday. We're still trying to work out times at this stage, but I've got a few little goodies to hand out. I won't tell you too much just yet, but there's going to be some guest appearances as well from my colleagues in Queanbeyan.
Cool.
Probably my favourite question so far is, what made you want to be a police officer?
There's a few things that I can think of. My grandfather, he was in the police for probably close to 40 years.
Wow.
He was a big inspiration of mine, and he always talked about the job. He loved the job. My cousin is also in the police now. He's in Sydney. And just the fact we get to go to work every day, we don't know what's going to happen. We get to spend a lot of the time outside in the sun, speaking to people, and generally helping people too.
Cool. Interesting. What are the big issues in Captain's Flat, or like there been any big issues maybe?
No, so again, I love Captain's Flat. It's a really good place to work, and this whole area in general is a great place to work. I can't really put my finger on a particular issue. Most of the time though, you get your public holidays in particular, where people will come from outside of Captain's Flat.
Yeah.
They'll come on to properties, and with that tends to come our rural crime. So our illegal hunting, our trespassing, it's opportunistic. So when people come from outside the area, they'll see an opportunity to jump a fence and steal a lamb, and that's what they'll do. So most of my issues are around the rural crime side of things.
Yeah.
People coming from outside of town and doing things they shouldn't be doing.
Well, quick little side question. What was the funniest encounter of like an arrest kind of thing, maybe?
It's hard, I guess, to put your finger on one thing and say it's been the funniest or the scariest job. There's been plenty of funny moments. We tend to laugh a lot sometimes, and yeah, it's really hard to put my finger on one thing and say that's been the funniest arrest, because we see funny things all the time and deal with some funny people.
Cool. Okay. Well.
A quick question. What's the scariest thing being a police officer?
The scary part comes from, again, working on my own. We go to some remote and isolated properties, and in remote areas we understand that firearm ownership is quite high. A lot of people have guns as primary producers for their employment. So I guess the scary thing is being on your own and going to properties, especially at night, just not knowing what you face. And you can be seen from a long distance away too, at night especially.
Scary. Our last question is, how do you feel about people leaning over your fence to pat your dogs?
I love it, and my dogs love it too. Mornings when I can hear kids walking to school, and I hear the dogs run straight to the fence. They sleep inside the house on their beds, and the first thing they want to do in the morning is go straight outside because they know that the kids are going to be walking to school and they're going to get maximum amount of pats. They love it, and I love it too. It's on occasion we come home and there's random toys in the yard that people have dropped over the fence and random treats around, but yeah, the dogs are happy and they get that social interaction too, which is good.
Yeah.
So my partner and I love it.
Yeah, and like when we used to do the swimming lessons down at the Campsite pool, we used to always, how many kids, like 25 kids would always just go up to the fence and just
straight patting the dog straight away. Hopefully the teachers like it.
Yeah, we've had a few times.
Appreciate it, but yeah, I know the dogs appreciate it a lot. They love their pats.
The teachers are like, just leave the dog. It's fine.
Yeah, the dogs love it, but
yeah,
they're friendly too. It's I guess socialisation time for them where they can get their pats and get their attention and go back to doing their own thing.
Yeah, because I have the really barkative dog, the Marima.
Oh, yeah.
And he just barks and barks and barks.
Barks all the time.
And we bought him shock collars and like all that stuff, but it never worked.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
That's insane.
Sometimes hard, especially they can see through the fence, so they know exactly who's coming past and who's walking a dog past. So sometimes they do bark.
But like, yeah, we have the red collarbond fence, and then we have this council tree.
Yeah.
And then they have the mesh thingy, like this wire sort of fence around it. Yeah. So then if anyone walks up the street, he's off his head. He's just going. And yeah.
I'll just take you back. I just thought about something else with the question you asked about, I guess, the best part of doing my job. I just thought it'd be worth mentioning that there's a lot of different opportunities as well. So you might see me as the local Captain's Flat police officer, but there's a amount of things we can do in the background. So I'm a general duties officer, but there's also courses we can do on the side where you can get time away from general duties and go and specialise in other things. So in Sydney, there's full-time units. I guess an example would be a weapons instructor. So in Sydney, you've got full-time weapons instructors who teach it all the time. In country areas, you can do the same course, but be part-time. So I guess you can do general duties, generally Monday to Friday, but 1 week you might do general duties and the next week you might be teaching weapons somewhere else across the state. So there's a lot of different things you can do.
Also, quick little side question again. Did you ever, like when we had the big bushfires and everyone was saying Australia's on fire, did you have to like commit to that?
Yeah, so we spent weeks, I guess, during that period on call as well, I suppose. Just we didn't know what the fire would do. It's quite unpredictable, and there was a time there where it was it had come over the hill over the back here, and it was heading towards Majors Creek. So we were on standby. We had to go through the mine there and speak to a lot of the staff about their plan. We were on standby that afternoon to evacuate Majors Creek if we had to. So we spent a few weeks, I guess, running around like headless chooks, here, there and everywhere, and fires were just popping up absolutely everywhere. So yeah, it was definitely a busy and stressful time for us. Yeah,
crazy.
And another question that I have, have you ever been scared, or are you scared of your dog jumping the fence? Because I had the couple call in. He can jump really far, but he was too stupid to realise.
Yeah, it does cross my mind every now and again. I hope they don't. I think, well, they do have it pretty good. They know they get treats off all the students here. But I mean, it is a possibility. I think if they wanted to jump the fence, they could. But I think they know they got it too good at home.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, Blake, for coming out and telling us a bit about yourself and some questions.
That's okay. Thanks again for having me. I've really enjoyed being here, and I look forward to having you all at Captain's Flat Police Station in the near future. And we can go through the station. I can show you exactly what I do down there and show you a few cool things.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This is quite a big opportunity. And yeah, because I thought we'd never get to interview such a big person like you too.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Considering this is only our 3rd episode.
Bigger and better things to come. But
Yeah.
again, thanks for having me here, and really enjoyed it and really appreciate your time.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Blake, for coming, and we'll look for whatever's what's new in the future.
But
And
for
yeah.
now, this is Alex and I signing off, and so see ya.
See you.